The scariest story ever told. It was a dark and stormy October night, and Lakeisha was binge-watching her favorite series on Netflix. She had been viewing it for the past 3 days, and she was nearing the final episode. After watching the 20th episode of the day, Lakeisha got off the couch to find something to eat. She hobbled into the kitchen to see if there were any cookies left in the cookie jar. The cookie jar belonged to one of her roommates, who claimed that it was haunted by the spirit of her psychotic great-aunt Hilda, who was known for skinning cats and dogs as a casual pastime while watching Wheel of Fortune. But Lakeisha did not care, for she wanted a cookie so that she could return and watch the final episode of her show. But in her carelessness, she accidentally slipped on a banana peel. One of her roommates was an actual monkey, which has nothing to do with the story other than helping out with context. And she knocked the cookie jar to the floor, where it shattered into a million pieces. The ghost of Aunt Hilda materialized before her very presence, her decrepit face and bulbous eyes taking in her surroundings. Lakeisha was moderately surprised, but also kind of indifferent, because she just really wanted a cookie so that she could get back to her show. But Aunt Hilda did not care about this, and she wanted vengeance for her broken cookie jar, that she likely used to store dead animal furs inside. Her ghastly body slowly levitated toward her, and Lakeisha realized she should probably get out of there. She ran for the back door as fast as her lazy legs could carry her. But as she darted out into the stormy night, she had forgotten about the curfew that had been enforced by the local law authorities due to the recent rampage of overweight killer circus clowns. Aunt Hilda phased through the wall, still intent on catching Lakeisha. But all of a sudden, a loud honk rang into the night. Lakeisha and Aunt Hilda stopped in their tracks. It was the sound of a killer clown honking his red nose. Lakeisha turned around to see one standing directly behind her. It was horrifying, but Lakeisha was still kind of indifferent to the whole affair, and honestly it was just starting to get kind of annoying at this point. She ran away as fast as she could. The only direction away from both the clown and Aunt Hilda was the forest. She darted into the darkness, but then something terrible happened. Something awful. Something that would never happen or be used as a cliche in any sort of horror story or movie or anything at all. She tripped over something and crashed to the ground. But what she tripped over wasn't just a branch or a root. It was a wolf. The wolf leaped upon Lakeisha and sunk its teeth into her arm. But Lakeisha didn't scream, because she was still kind of indifferent to everything going on. And at this point, it was just getting so inconvenient and annoying. Sure, I mean, it hurt, but she just wanted to watch the final episode of her show. Is that too much to ask? Then, the wolf did something unusual. He released his jaws and ran away, whimpering in terror. It was Aunt Hilda and the clown. They had scared him away, but they were coming for Lakeisha. She lied in the dirt, bloody and bruised. The clown wobbled toward her, holding a giant axe in his hands. Lakeisha tried to get up, but she didn't have the strength. All that Netflix had made her so lazy. Aunt Hilda flew closer, screeching a song of hateful vengeance. There was nothing Lakeisha could do at this point. But then, something happened. The clouds departed, and a full moon shone upon them. And in that moment, Lakeisha started to feel something. Hairy. She felt very hairy. She was transforming into a werewolf! But not just a lame old-school werewolf with cheap prosthetics and makeup. One of those really buff werewolves that could rip down a house with its bare hand claws. Now Lakeisha was ready to enact her vengeance. She grabbed the clown by the throat and lifted him off the ground. He feebly attempted to cut away at her arm with his axe, but her hair was so coarse and rough that it broke the weapon in two. She threw the clown against a tree with such force that he went crashing through it, causing the entire thing to come falling down upon him. Lakeisha then turned her attention to Aunt Hilda, who was actually pretty terrified at this point, even though she was a ghost. Aunt Hilda flew away, but was not fast enough. Lakeisha used her super werewolf lung capacity to suck in all the surrounding air, causing Aunt Hilda's ghostly spirit to be pulled in with it. After inhaling her, Lakeisha released a gust of wind from her mouth so powerful that it blew Aunt Hilda away. Literally, she went flying into the air. Like, you know those cartoons where you see them just go flying into the moon? Like, yeah. After this ordeal, Lakeisha headed back toward her house. Wet, bloody, tired, and very, very hairy, she returned to her house and collapsed on the couch, breaking it with the increased amount of body mass and weight that she had picked up in her new form. The next morning, Lakeisha awoke to find that she was returned to normal. She sat up on what was left of her couch, and a glorious realization struck her. She was finally able to finish watching her series that she had been viewing for 3 days straight. The characters, the plot lines, all the things that had been on her heart and mind that she wanted to be resolved could finally be finished. She turned on the TV and booted up Netflix. But as she searched for her show, it was nowhere to be found. In the span of time that had passed since the previous night, Netflix had removed the series, only to replace it with a new Netflix original that nobody would watch or care about. Lakeisha was so horrified that she let out a blood-curdling scream. And thus ends the scariest story of all time. Oh my gosh. I think I damaged something down here. That's... oh.